Hello, everyone. This is the Abundance Oracle, and today's topic is inflation and why the formula was calculated changed. Okay, here we go. Please subscribe and like if you can. Government employees need votes. They need to look good to the public, otherwise, they will not be voted back in. Y'all know that. Calculations for inflation numbers were changed a few years ago to make the numbers look better. Massive quantity of government employees, massive quantity, were hired to make the unemployment numbers look acceptable and better. If you have honorable intentions to help the largest quantity of Americans and do what is right and good for the public in the long run, and tell the truth about it, it may not be popular for a period of time. If your community knows you and understands why you may have to make these choices that are not popular to fix the problem, the ones with strength and character will back you. It takes a politician with inner strength. Now let me ask you, do you have inner strength of character to guide your family to financial success and moral success? And I believe you need both. You can click off now if you answered yes, and my plan is working. If you are struggling, please listen further for a little inspiration, and I'm going to tell you about my life a little bit. I'll give you an example of life, out of my life, what it took and continues to take, especially as a single mom. At one point in my life, I faced an extremely disastrous financial situation with two young children. Some of you may be facing those times now with inflation, and some of you may come upon those in the next couple of years as things that get repaired take time. The homeless rate in 2024 went up 18%. And it may end up still going up in 2025 because there's a lot of repairs that need to be done, and they're not going to be easy. In my situation, there was no money for wants, and I had to sell everything I could sell to provide for only barely basic needs. In fact, even those needs were a challenge to fulfill. I came up with a plan, but it was devastatingly difficult if I was to provide for my children a future that was worth for them to strive for. As a parent, it took my inner strength and trust in myself. And it was not always easy, I have to tell you. Sometimes you do question your choices and your abilities too. My children would complain. They were upset that life became so difficult all of a sudden, which may be what some of you are also facing now or in the future may face. My young children were embarrassed. I had to explain many times that I had a plan, and I made them a promise that I would fix this mess and keep my promises to them and would not lie to them. I knew if we learned how to become good and sufficient at being, we're going to say economically challenged, but I considered myself poor, it would give them a foundation of skills and inner strength that they could always be able to fall back on if they ever had hard times in their own lives and I wasn't around. At the time, they did not understand. They were around 7 and 11 years old by then. I asked them for their trust. I didn't tell them to trust me. I asked them for them to give me their trust. And over the years, they saw things getting slowly better as I built a strong foundation for our family, financially and morally. And now when I ask them, do they understand why I did it and how I did it, they agreed it was a good plan and a successful plan. literally all of my single mom friends took an easier route. They have had a tough time with their children now as they got older. I feel very lucky that we had our hard times in the very beginning and now are experiencing abundance. My friends' plans weren't willing to make the massive self-discipline and sacrifice that my plan took. None of their children had to face the difficulties that were as challenging as mine were and had to overcome. No new clothes, literally no new clothes. No internet except at the nearby library where they had the computers. No money for field trips. Food that they didn't like to eat. Even once, my oldest daughter found bugs in the spaghetti because we would buy close to expiration date food to cut back on food. Only one Christmas gift. All their friends had multitudes of Christmas gifts. And how I got that Christmas gift that year is I had to wait in a line. I cried the whole time I was in that line, that the town was giving away Christmas presents. We needed to get donations and ask people for money to send them to summer gymnastic camp. And I had to work at the camp to reduce the cost of tuition. This, I told them, was our vacation. And I smiled on the outside, but inside I needed a vacation so desperately I can't even explain it. I had to take the earliest morning shift for the nurses section of town, of camp, in case anyone got hurt. I got the first person hurt for the week, actually, and drove them into Lancaster. Okay, now this is some of the ways that we did it. We made pot holders at night when they got home from school. I grew cucumbers in the backyard. They sold them to the neighbors. They babysat. Dog walking failures we had. Take notice. Small children cannot walk very large, even very loving dogs. It just doesn't work. I was unpopular some years with my girls during those years of building character and financials, but my plan did exactly that. Built two strong characters with strength and resilience and no debt. They knew you should not charge on a credit card if you can't pay it off at the end of the month. They saved money. Their money that they made stayed as their money. School, there were no loans. Actually, there was one loan and it was paid off by the time they were done with school. There were bumps in the road, but we conquered each one together as a team. And we learned lessons together and came up with solutions together. Our good politicians and our good citizens will be facing the same need for strong morals and hard work over the next 4 years if they are to set this country on the right foot again. If I can do it, so can you. Even if you don't know how, you'll figure out a way that works. My best advice that I can give you is to plan for disaster and organize for the worst so that when it falls short of being the most horrible thing, you'll be pleased and happy with the results you can produce. It'll be an air of abundance, building and building and growing and growing. Anything short of disaster and trouble will look like a gift. Stay strong. You can do it if I did. This is the Abundance Oracle. Please subscribe and like if you did like it. Thank you. Have a great day.